Jerry, what's happening?
Dakota, man, how you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, no problem.
Welcome to the Breathe Pulse. Where are you broadcasting from tonight?
I am broadcasting from the nursery in my home,
All right. Chicago, Illinois?
Chicago, Illinois.
Excellent. I'm coming live from Fort Collins, Colorado tonight
Nice.
in the Breathe
Feels like
studio.
we're right next to each other, but so far away.
Yeah. Hey, well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. This is a Breathe Pulse. I'm Dakota Collins. This is Jerry Majeski with Balanced Community. Tonight, we're just going to be talking Slack. Balanced Community has been putting out amazing slackline gear for many, many years. I was fortunate to grow into the brand at a young age, and my first longline kit was sourced from Balanced Community. My highline rig has many elements of the Balanced Community brand today, and just really, really grateful to have a great friendship with Jerry, but also a great relationship with Balanced Community and the Breathe brand.
Likewise, buddy.
So tonight, for everybody that's just tuning in, we're gonna be just talking about some of the new and upcoming products from Balanced Community. Balanced Community's been putting out a ton of awesome products recently. We've seen a lot of new innovation. We've seen some new webbing, new web blocks put out on the market, and then we're also gonna talk about some new stuff coming out as well. Well, first, Jerry, how do you want to kind of get into all this, man? We can kind of play it by ear here.
I don't know. Maybe we can talk about a little bit of history of Breathe and Balanced Community working together.
Sure.
Then maybe we can lead into some cool, fun products, and
Perfect.
then maybe we can check out some stuff on my website.
Awesome. That sounds good. Well, why don't you give the viewers just a little elevator speech on the background of Balanced Community, where you came from, how long you've been in business, then I'll do the same for Breathe.
Cool. Well, Balanced Community started in 2009. So this is our 11th year in business. It started after about a 2-month long highlining trip between me and a few buddies. After that trip, I really wanted to make slacklining my life. And when I got home, I registered the domain name. My friend Pierre Carrillo, he came up with the name Balanced Community. He had been thinking of that for years and years, I guess. Kind of interesting. But it really just stuck because, it's kind of the perfect fit for our sport, where we balance not only on the line, but like the activity in our life. It's the big balance, and we're all just one big happy community, which is where it kind of fits in really well with the Breathe Fest. And since then, I started off just selling primitive kits for my friends and a few webbing items and Slack bananas for those of you that are old school. But then that kind of led into some custom products, custom webbings, the web lock, and which has transformed quite a bit over the years. And yeah, we've got a pro team now, and we're shipping slackline gear everywhere in the world. It's really grown up. It's pretty exciting to see it all kind of unfold.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, thanks for being just such a great contribution to the sport.
Happy to.
Little Breathe background. Breathe has been in operation for now 8 years. Just seeing the growth over the past 7 years has been really, really incredible. Our first event, we only had about 50 people. And now when we look back to last year's attendance, over 1,000 attendees. So really just awesome to see how the slackline community, but also the community that makes up this energy and passion that lives within the slacklining community that we don't necessarily think about, but it's art, it's music, it's yoga, it's creativity, and that's really what Breathe is all about. It's slackline born, but the elements that are built into slacklining is is kind of what we're here to share and spread. And just through considering the circumstances, Breathe is starting to branch into new growth. Hence the Breathe Pulse platform. So for all of you that are just tuning in, you can put Wednesday night on your calendar, 7 p.m. Central Time. Check us out. We've got new talks every week. Breathe Pulse can exist in many ways, shapes, or form. Currently, we're coming live in the social media way tonight. But so that's a little background on Breathe, a little background on Balance Community. Let's see. I think it was the very first. I think it was maybe the second year of Breathe. We asked Jerry to come out. We said, hey, a bunch of slackliners are setting up lines over the pond. We've got an awesome long line field. I think it'd be great if you came and set up some gear. How about it? Jerry came out, and I still have this vivid memory of just this monster long line, like 40 feet up in the trees, like 600 feet long. And just from that first, from that first event where Balance Community kind of got plugged in, it just has been a great fit ever since. Every year Balance Community has some awesome swag in the giveaway. People are always scoring web blocks, pieces of webbing. Most of the webbing you see that makes up the jelly every year is sourced from Balance Community. So there's been just a great collaboration there. And you want to tell them about the Balance Community pond at our venue in Stable Studios?
Yes. Ever since the new venue came around and we had access to this glorious back pond, I've tried to take as much advantage of that as possible. Every year we set up like 10 to 15 lines over the pond, ranging from 100 to 600 feet long, and we can rig them like they're high lines because there's a pond underneath, which is great fun. We usually set up every one of our types of webbing and throw some really weird ones in there, like Kill Bill or Quadruple Mantra or something stupid like that.
Oh yeah.
But every year, man, we're going to be just adding more and more stuff, and there's some big plans for whenever the next Breathe happens.
Awesome. One of my favorite memories from last year's Breathe is the farthest line out. I don't know if it's the 600 foot or 500, something like that. But oh my gosh, man! Like I think it was on a double mantra or something like that, old school mantra. And oh, dude, I just had this amazing experience out in the middle, like bringing me back to the old school days.
Nice.
walking some tight long lines. It was a great experience. So,
heck yeah, that's what it's about, man.
Well, cool. Well, you've heard a little bit about Balance Community. You've heard a little bit about Breathe. Let's talk slackline gear.
Cool. Yeah. So over the last year, we've had quite a few product releases at Balance Community. It started out with the Wafer, which is a micro line grip device. Pretty fun to use, really small, light. It's extremely convenient because you can just keep it on your harness. If you ever need to tension a line or position yourself on a line that's really slopey or something, it's really awesome. 70 grams, works really well. And then after that, we had a big webbing release where we had our blue and our green webbing, which quickly sold out. Actually, I'm out of both of them right now, which is really crazy. But the next batch of green is going to be here in like 2 weeks. So really excited for that. Get ready. It's really, really fun, lower stretch nylon webbing. So good for like 100 meter plus long lines, or if you want to just like a chill bounce line under 100 meters, green is the way to go. Or if you're into longer, smoother walks, go for blue. It's a lower stretch polyester webbing, but that's out until the end of summer. So crazy demand for that one.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah. And then that kind of led into the Alpine Weblock 5, and that was a smashing success. This thing, we were developing this for almost a year. It has so many features. I'm in love with this thing, man. Like, it's just a work of art, I think. Simon, my business partner, and I, we spent a lot of time kind of perfecting and testing and honing in this design over, like I said, over the course of a year. And I think it turned out pretty good. We got a nice Beckett here that you can rig off of, has a built-in anti-slippage functionality. It works with shackles, soft shackles. You can rig it with a soft release here. The pre-tensioning is way better than any other web lock that I've personally used. And it's light. It's less than half the weight of the 4.0, but it's same strength.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow.
It's science. And then we have our pretty bright, extremely stretchy jibin webbing. It's just a basic nylon, which is what the name is, JYBN, just your basic nylon. But it's really fun to walk. Nice lightweight, 55 grams per meter, 27 kilonewtons. It's a nice, affordable bounce webbing. Really easy to see too, as you can see.
Yeah, awesome.
And then one last product that's yet to be released is this line lock ring right here. It's called the Mighty Lock. And it's really cool because it's a really simple way to anchor your webbing, but it's extremely efficient. Like, we've tested it with all of our webbings, and it averages about 90% strength retention on every webbing we have. Compared to a normal line locker, that's pretty amazing. It actually beats some web locks, which is pretty cool. And we made it for backup lines to anchor your backup to replace the frost knot. It's just so much more convenient to build a line locker rather than sleeving your webbing, tying a knot. Oh, shoot, it's in the wrong spot. Got to unsleeve it, move the position. It's a hassle. This is 3 seconds to install. Pretty cool.
You don't need a line sleeve with it.
Nope.
Wow.
And another cool, sorry, one last feature on this. The Mighty Lock is what it's going to be called, coming soon. So we have, I'll show you here. I don't know if you can read it, but on this side, it's built for 25 millimeter webbing. But if you flip it this way, it's 20 millimeters wide. So hint, hint, something is coming.
Oh.
20 millimeters. What does that mean?
I'm excited.
Yeah. So in addition to that, we have a bunch of other stuff coming, but I won't hint at any of those things because they're still a ways off.
Awesome. Well, when can we see the Mighty Lock hitting the market?
Probably within 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, all right. Do you guys have an idea on starting price for that?
$19.
$19. Cost-effective solution to anchoring your backup webbing on a highline.
Yeah, it's great. And it works for long lines too.
Sure. Oh, man, that's awesome. So check it out. We've got the website right here on the bottom. Visit balancecommunity.com. Maybe go ahead and put a little reminder in your calendar to check back on the website in 2 to 3 weeks to check out the Mighty Lock. I felt my wallet just get a little bit $19 lighter. And so for anybody that's tuning in, if you guys have questions or you want to hear Jerry from Balance Community talk about any of this gear, go ahead and write a comment right on this live stream. It'll come through. We'll be able to answer it. But awesome. Jerry, let's talk about some of that webbing. All right, let's say you're going to go out to the park. You're, depending on what might be your favorite length. I don't know. Do you have an ideal length that you just like to go session to get a little burnt off steam? What's your go-to slackline in the park?
I would say between 60 and 100 meters. It's not too hard to rig. You can leave it, just overhead height for pretty safe walking experience, but it's long enough that you feel it once you're at the end, and you can turn around if you want to. And the dynamics of that length are really nice for slow bounce walking or slow surf walking, just like simple dynamics in the park. I'm not going to push it like I would a highline, like a bounce highline, but if I'm in the park, I can do like little slow bounce movements on 80 meters, no matter what the webbing is, and have a good time.
What's the go-to webbing for that length for you?
Either Green or Feather Pro is my my favorites right now.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, Feather Pro has been a long time favorite of me. Just super smooth walk, man. All right, so anybody that's tuning in, go ahead and write what your favorite balanced community webbing is in the comments. Let's get a gauge what everybody likes here. All right. Now Highline, what's your favorite Highline webbing, Jerry?
Highline, ooh. It depends on the length a lot. If I'm doing like a big-ish these days, 200 to 300 meter line, Arrow 2, hands down with Feather Pro backup. Like that's the creme de la creme for me. It's just so good, man.
Yeah.
The big bounces you can get at that length. Oh, I love it. But for like a sub 100 line, sub 100 meters, lift is really good, real bouncy. Lift or green, like nylon for sure for the shorter stuff.
Sure. I still have, my Type 18 from like probably 8 or 9 years ago that I bought off you. 105-meter piece, and it's still like in perfect condition. I'd go rig it up on a Highline tomorrow.
Nice. Yeah, it's really robust, that Type 18, man.
Yeah. Looks
the
like
lifespan is crazy.
Ganapatier, he says his favorite webbing is lift. Joey, Type 18 Mark II, both excellent choices.
Totally. Looks like we got a couple questions here too. The first one being the knockoff web locks on Alibaba. Don't trust that. Stay away from that stuff. There's been a lot of counterfeit products on Alibaba, and a very large percentage of those are not safe. They use low-grade materials. Their machining is not great. It's a very big problem in the climbing industry. And now that the slackline industry is growing, we're probably going to see more and more of this. Just avoid it if you can. This was mentioned on Facebook for the first time. Someone talked about this, that a lot of the slackline brands are small. Like Balance Community is just me and my partner Simon, and we pour our life into this. Like this is our means of living, and we do a lot of testing, a lot of honing in designs, and we are active in the sport, so we know what the slackliners need. And to kind of brush that aside and go to Alibaba and buy it from somebody that just stole it from a picture on the internet, I don't know. To me, it kind of hurts me a little bit. But aside from that, there's this real safety concern.
Sure.
With that.
Great comments, Jerry.
And then Ganapatier asks about the web lock being flipped. No, unnecessary to flip the web lock to get optimum pre-tensioning. And that's not true for the 3 and 4 also. You get the same pre-tension ability upside down or right side up. It really depends on where you're pulling from. If you're pulling from above, you want it upside down because the tail is on the top, because you won't want to twist it while you're pulling. If you're below the web lock, you want it right side up.
Sweet. So for anybody that's just tuning in, this is a Breathe Pulse. I'm Dakota Collins. We've got Jerry Majeski here from Balance Community Slackline Outfitters. We're just talking slack. We're talking new gear. We're talking some of the gear that's been released in the past year. All right, let's talk about something new, Jerry.
Cool. What you want to talk about?
I don't know, man. Well, let's take it like a little bit of a look into the Balance Community business right now. Things have been changing across the world. I'm sure, some of this global pandemic is, you're seeing something come through the business. Are people gravitating towards a certain type of slackline right now, or are you seeing an increase in long line sales, or are people buying beginner kits? What are you seeing?
I am actually seeing a huge uptick in the beginner sector, which is really exciting for me, because that's kind of a new potential community growing. Like, I don't know if it's this isolation or what, that people are starting to gravitate more towards slacklining as a pastime, but I'm really excited for people sticking with it from buying these beginner kits and kind of entering into the highline realm and becoming like Breathe participants and just growing our community for the better. Because like
Yeah.
Balance community, I would like to get more into the beginner sector, but we're very much focused on the amateur to advanced slackline crowd. Yeah, as you can see from a lot of our products. And so selling people a beginner kit is really exciting from that perspective, because these are future people that we can work with for years to come and help them grow their own stoke and skill level in the slacklining sport.
Sure. I remember my very first slackline kit. I'm sure you probably remember your first slackline.
Yeah, I still have it actually.
What was it?
It was just tan tubular webbing from a local climbing shop and a couple carabiners.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, my first slackline was just some tubular webbing I bought from REI. Bought a couple carabiners. Actually, Davis was the one that got me into slacklining back in the day. He brought over a Gibbon flow line and was like, "Dude, check this thing out." So then I put together a little 1-inch primitive kit, and then I saw the Gibbon jib line came out, and I was like, "Oh, let's go get that! Like, let's get bouncy." And so it's just, I think it's fair to say that, no matter who you are, you're going to remember your first slackline kit, and
sure.
it's nostalgic. And so for that to be a balanced community slackline kit for your very first slackline, how cool. So
yeah, we're trying to make that more approachable from a cost perspective, because I know if you go on Amazon, you can find $30-$40 slackline kits, but you come to me and it's almost $200 to get a decent 30-meter primitive kit. I'm trying to work on that to bring it down to be a little bit more approachable for someone that may not know how awesome slacklining is. And so that's exciting, because it just opens up the market way more than having these really high cost of entry.
Sure.
Well, got cool. A question here from Joey Crowell. A difficult decision that I've had to make. Well, so there was a really drastic change in the slackline market when tension became uncool. So it was quick. Like within less than a year, all highliners in the world stopped tensioning their lines. And so like a big part of my business was tensioning systems. And so I had to, steer away from that and kind of, start looking at some lighter weight, easier, low tensioning systems that are, possible. And that's kind of when the Hangover came out, which is, a crazy good product that's exploded in the slackline scene. And I have yet to release something like that yet. But that's kind of like the wafer. It's geared towards that whole sector. The web lock, now that we have the slippage happening in all web locks, we had to design a whole product just to prevent that, because every other web lock doesn't actually lock the web. It's like a misnomer. So yeah, I had to steer the whole business away from tension a few years ago, and that was pretty interesting. But being so small, it's easy to make these really sharp pivots. If I was, a multi-person company, it'd be a lot harder to, stop selling something and develop something new super quick.
Sure. Have you seen an influx in the demand for the trick highline segment at all?
Yeah, it's not huge. Like that's still a really small percentage, because like highliner is already a super niche of the sport. And then within that realm, there's, a tiny little sector that's interested in dynamic highlining. So yeah, I'm sure it'll grow. I hope it does, because it's cool as heck. Don't know if I'm supposed to say that. Yeah.
Cool. Well, are you slacklining these days? Are you getting out?
I haven't slacklined in a while. several months, almost a year probably.
Wow.
I have a line in my warehouse, but I don't know if I can count that. It's decently long, like 20 meters, but still, it's not the same as rigging something. 'Cause to me, rigging is part of slacklining. Like it's ingrained
Sure.
in there. If I don't rig a slackline, I don't know. I mean, if I walk up to a high line, obviously I'm considering that walking a slackline. But like, I don't know. It's weird.
No, I totally feel that. Like, I almost get as much enjoyment rigging the line as I do walking it. You know,
Oh,
especially
absolutely.
especially with highlining when you're problem solving, trying to make something go, you know, or
Yeah.
establishing a new line, like that's a
Oh,
whole new thrill.
yeah. That's the epitome, man. That's the epitome of the sport for me is pioneering and rigging a new gap. The
Yeah.
sand is like, cherry, but
Yeah,
all that cake batter and frosting is pioneering and rigging, man.
absolutely. So on that topic, you know, do you have any projects, you know, at the forefront of your mind? I remember there was a couple years back to back where we were always bouncing project ideas off each other. You and I were charging at it pretty hard, trying to push lengths, trying to push into
Hmm.
to new realms. But you know, do you still find that urge inside at all?
Every once in a while, I'll get an urge to like do a crazy cool project, but I don't know. My whole slackline career, I've been really focused on that, and I'm getting to the point where like I need to spend some time focused on the company,
Sure.
like some real solid time, a couple of years at least, just trying to sustain it better. I mean, we've been in business 11 years, as I said, but I want to make it more stable, because it bounces year to year, up and down, so it's hard to predict one year to the next. So I want to really dig in, focus on it for the next couple of years. Um, Also, I just had a baby, so that's a big thing for me. Um, Being around for her while she grows up in the first couple of years, very important for me. And so, to answer your question, I don't really have any major projects on the forefront of my brain. If I get the opportunity to go highline at a cool location, I may take it, but I'm not going to spearhead anything right now.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm right there with you, man. uh, Margaret Abood asked, "Did you guys color coordinate on purpose?" No, we did not,
Yes,
Margaret.
you should see the text thread that we have going. No, we didn't.
well, well, hey, I'm curious. You were talking about the wafer earlier on.
Yeah,
You said it can be used to kind of position yourself on some of those steeper high lines. So, are
yeah,
you insinuating that you walk some of these longer high lines with a wafer on your harness?
I have. Yeah, if it's
Cool.
especially loose and I'm feeling pretty tired at the beginning, like it might be a good idea to keep it with you. Just because, like, if you find yourself needing to glide back to the anchor and it's a super loose line and it's crazy steep at the anchor, you get tired and you have to like hang there on your hangover or whatever roller device, and it's pretty tiring. Instead, you can just put your wafer on there, clip it to your delay loop, and just take a chill, take a few minutes rest, slide up a few more meters, reinstall the wafer, sit there for a second. Kind of
Sure.
nice.
Yeah, that is nice. I remember back in the day, you know, we would just keep a carabiner on our harness. This was even before like the hangover existed, you know. So
Yeah.
you get a little bit of a friction if you just clip the carabiner up there.
Hmm. I mean, there's also the trick of flipping your roller device so it's not on the roller side on the line. That works
Yep.
really well. So
Well, cool, man. You know, just a couple more things I wanted to touch on as far
yeah,
as, you know, some new stuff that you guys have put together. And I know there's been a new transition towards connecting high lines. And it
hmm
seems like you guys have some accessories to kind of allow for extensions and stuff like that. You want to kind of talk a little bit on any of those?
yeah, sure. So for those of you who don't know, segmenting highlines is it kind of accomplishes two things. First, you can have shorter lengths of webbing for your main line. So you don't, it's like you have to do like a 400-meter line. You don't have to have a 400-meter plus piece of webbing to accomplish that. And in addition to that, it segments your backup line into shorter pieces and connects it to the main at intervals. And what that does is if the line breaks at any point along the length, there's only that section of backup that's going to tighten. And then it's going to use the main line for the rest of the length of the line. Thus, you fall a shorter distance if you ever take a backup fall on a big high line. And that's a really, really important thing, because a 400-meter line, for example, with a loose backup, that backup might be 440 meters long. And then you're going to fall like 60 meters.
You're going to be going for a ride.
Yeah, it's crazy. Now, instead, if you have 60-meter segments, for example, you'd only fall a couple meters. And there's some great videos on how not to highline where Ryan Jenks actually tests that. And slackline is the originator of the concept. But yeah, so in order to outfit your gear with it, we recommend that you get similar length pieces for all your webbings. We sell 60, 90, 120 meter lengths. A lot of people like 50 and 100 meter lengths. Doesn't matter at all. As long as each main line segment has an equal length backup line paired with it. So you could have a set of 50s connected to a set of 90s, connected to a set of 30s, whatever you want. But as long as those two, the main and the backup, match each other, then you're good. But you also need an extender to extend the backup, because your main line is going to be tight, and so it's going to stretch a little bit. And the length of that extender, which you're going to use to extend your backup line, depends on the stretch of your main line. And so we offer these webbing extenders on the webbing part of our website in various lengths, depending on what stretch your mainline webbing is.
Awesome. Yeah.
And I'll have a lot more information on segmented highlines as soon as I'm not quarantined and packing orders 40 hours a week.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing a little bit about that. I think it was pretty cool innovation just to see how the sport is transitioning into its newest phase. I remember the idea of segmented highlines kind of seemed crazy back in the day, but I bet it'll be a norm here soon. So really cool accessory you guys have.
One of my favorite things about the whole segmentation things is it allows for community projects where one person can own a few pieces of webbing and they can pair it with their friend's few pieces of webbing, and they can now rig a bigger line. It really kind of enforces this teamwork that is really required for these big projects. Like it's possible, but it's very difficult to rig a 300-meter plus line by yourself. And so if you pair up your skills and your gear with your friend, now you can rig this line. It's pretty cool.
Totally. Love it. Awesome. Cool. Sweet. So we've gone through some of the hardware. We covered the Alpine 5. Are we calling it 5.0 or just calling it Alpine Weblock 5?
I like 5.0.
5.0.
Just 5.0.
All right. Perfect.
Preferred moniker.
We talked about the 5.0. We talked about the wafer. We talked about some of these webbing extensions. We talked about blue, green, jibbin. If anybody else wants to hear us talk about anything else, go ahead and type it in. Let's see. Oh, we have a question coming in. Ganapatye.
Yes.
Will BC be releasing larger diameter leash rings?
We have some cool leash ring stuff coming. Still testing it heavily. We've shown it at various festivals in the past, Breathe last year and GGBY as well. We're just trying to optimize that, and we are considering looking into a larger aluminum ring as well. That won't be for a while though, probably.
Cool. Cool. Thanks for the question, Ganapatier. We appreciate it.
Yes. Another question from Danette. She likes Aero 2, Feather Pro, and Lift, but Mantra is very difficult. That is mainly due to the weight, but Mantra is unique in that the more times you walk it, the better it gets. It's really, I don't know why this happens. I think it's just the fibers relaxing in the webbing over time, but BC Pro Ryan Robinson, he has this piece that's 7 years old now that he's walked so much on that webbing, and it is fantastic. So if you just stick with it, use that piece as much as you can, even use it as an anchor or something. Just tension it as much as you can, and it gets easier and better and nicer and softer and cooler.
It's a great color scheme too.
Yeah.
It just looks awesome. Hey, that was what the jelly at Breathe was rigged up on. All 8 legs on Mantra.
That was brand new stuff. So give it a few years and those legs will be nice.
Oh yeah. Oh, we almost had a close one, man. I just got the notification that the computer almost died. I thought it was plugged in. That would have been bad.
Whoa. Oh my goodness.
All right, we're back in action.
Oh, Gavin Kidd. Wow, that's been a few years, man. How are you doing, buddy? He was my first customer.
Wow.
2009.
Let's give it up for Gavin. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, I think we should just kind of mention this. Balance Community plays a huge role in GGBY each year. In fact, I mean, you're pretty much the main person behind the plan as far as the Highlines go. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm lead rigger every year for the last 3 years.
Cool.
I'm also a major sponsor. I sponsored 14 Highlines last year. A lot of it from my own personal gear, and the rest from Balance Community stuff. So it's a great festival, man. Consider checking it out if you can.
Big shout out to Jerry and Balance Community for the support there. The Fruit Bowl has a special place in my heart, and just seeing the devotion you put into the event these past couple of years is admirable. And bringing the hang frames into the game, that was just really cool to see.
Yeah, I still need to do a write-up on those. I've been seeing a lot more interest in that design. It's great. Hang frames are awesome, so stable if you rig them right. And it just makes the line way more approachable and easily accessible.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I think we've done a pretty good job covering quite a bit of stuff.
Agreed.
Yeah. So thank you all for tuning in. This was a Breathe Pulse with Jerry Majeski from Balance Community Slackline Outfitters. Tune in every Wednesday night for these Breathe Pulses. They take shape in many forms, but tonight we're bringing them to you. Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Make sure to follow Breathe Fest on all social media channels. Go ahead and follow Balance Community as well. Hop on over to their shop. Check out some of this new swag. Get the 5.0. Get on the back order for green and blue. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Any last words for your audience here, Jerry?
Keep it slack, man.
Keep it slack.
Sag is swag.
Cool. All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.